No one much remembers or celebrates the day it began, June 22nd, 1941. We don't revere history's low points, and this was a point so low, so utterly tragic, so full of terror and suffering, that words, sounds, even pictures fail to comprehend its dark dimensions. Who then or since has had the imagination to grasp the parameters or plumb the depths of this war over the lands of Eastern Europe, the raging hatreds, the appalling indignities, the terror, the killing, the slaughter of more than 25 million of the world's people? You can look into the faces of these Germans so long after and wonder what they thought, how they felt on that hot, dusty June day. They were certainly smug and arrogant and supremely confident. Theirs was the superlative army which had swept Western Europe, which had prostrated France and humbled England, which would now easily destroy Russia. They could not, would not know that this last glorious dash for victory would descend into a nightmare which would last 1,400 days and bring Russia to the steps of Hitler's bunker. This was to be a war fought without compassion or soldierly honor, a titanic struggle in the murky atmosphere of kerosene and cordite, in choking heat and flesh-killing cold. A war which would soak the earth with the life's blood of nameless millions and warp and twist the very souls of those who survived. This was the Russian-German War. In the spring of 1941, the Germans began to amass the army to conquer Russia. It was not brought together on a whim in a day. The front line was to be the longest in the history of warfare, 1,300 miles long, from German East Prussia on the Baltic down through occupied Poland to friendly Romania in the south. 3,200,000 men and all the machines of war had to be readied and moved to battle. 500,000 horses, food, ammunition, hospitals, guns, gasoline dumps, 2,000 planes, 3,300 tanks. The staff planners drew them all together and laid them neatly layer on mighty layer. The German genius for detail, the despair of all her previous victims, seemed to flower here more than ever. Only now, in long hindsight, can we see the monumental mistakes and miscalculations which would bring defeat thundering back on the whole German nation. The Germans had drawn a distorted picture of these Russians they were about to fight, this Russia they were about to fight in. Worst of all was the overwhelming and overlooked dimension of distance. The front line would be driven 1,000 miles deep into Russia and would spread to an incomprehensible width of 2,500 miles. The Germans were about to play tennis on a football field, and for all their skill, they could not overcome the handicap, could not win the game. The last Berlin-Moscow Express made its way over the bridge at Brest-Litovsk, innocently, peacefully, a final ironic twist to the prologue.